This is a Dobcross loom. It was built and brought into production in 1959, but the original Dobcross loom was built in 1874, and everything that we see today has been developed from that. The Dobcross was one of the most versatile looms that were developed. You could use it from weaving carpets right the way through to silk scarves. You could wear anything like that. You had just adjusted it. It was a very heavy loom, but with adjustment, it could be very, very gentle. It could weave some of the lightest cloths that you would want to put on there. Well, it's quite funny actually. I mean, when we all of us at the final year at school, we were segmented into different firms around. You had Newman Henders, you had Chamberlain, you had Longfords, you had the little firms that were dotted around the Stroud Valleys, and usually there was one or two places where we could go. And well, being a bit sort of lazy, didn't want to go too far. Living at evening, I, of course, chose Longfords. And again, fortunately, I had a choice of two jobs. One I was entirely unsuitable for because it meant working in the office, and that didn't appeal to me at all. I left school at 15, so that was the age I started at Longfords. My training was start to finish. From the time I started in the shed, you would learn on the job. One day a week I went to college, and I was being taught by my colleague that I'd been working in the morning. I'd been being taught in the afternoon at college by him there. Dear old Arthur Gigg. He was a great guy, but what he didn't know wasn't worth remembering. He was brilliant. The job that I was learning, that I hoped to become, was called a loom tuner. And there were only 3-4 firms in the district that had Dobcross looms and Northrop looms, so there weren't very many of us about. There was only about 4. And sometimes when someone was ill or on holiday, we would fill in to the different firms, Strawn's Cam Mill, Longford's Mill. We would swap about because we all operated on the same looms, the Dobcrosses and Northrops, so we could always, all of us would intermingle, and a weaver in Longford's Mill can ask the same question of a tuner who worked at Cam Mill because we all knew about them. The first thing we had to do when we got into work, one of my first jobs, to walk over to the big starting motor, and I set the big wheel going to start all Dobcross, the ones that were driven by leather belts, just set them going. And it besode me if I was a minute late, the ladies would start creating, shouting, I was this, that, and the other. But anyway, we got them going. The silence when you went in was wonderful. But a minute later, you couldn't even hear yourself think. It was that loud. So then you went round all the looms to find out what warps were finishing during the day when the weaver got, so that I knew what new warps to put in position to be able to take the old one out and put a new one in and get ready to start and tie in a new warp. If a loom had gone wrong, the weaver would straight away come and look for a tuner to come and put it right. They would explain in the best way that they could, and some of them were even better than tuners, but they could tell you what happened, what was needed, and sometimes I might be at the other end of the shed. I'd pick up the appropriate tools and I'd go down and I would put the job right. if I did it quickly, because as we know that as a loom stopped, time was money, and if I did it very quickly, some of the lady weavers were very good cooks and rewarded me with a nice piece of cake or something, which was quite something to look forward to. On occasions when I got nothing to do, I'd have a wander around just to have a look and see if anything was pending, anything that was going to go wrong, and put it right before it got there. And sometimes you could walk around and all of a sudden you had a noise hum of the whole shed. And sometimes that hum might be a clatter, clatter, boom. Hum, clatter, clatter, boom, and you would realize that there was something going wrong. And because you could hear it, you could go make headway towards it and stop the loom before it got too bad. In about 1990, when everything had been woven at Longford's Mill, all the cloth that was needed from there went to a cam mill in Strones, which is all produced today, the snooker cloth and the tennis cloth. And unfortunately, the scrapmen went in with their big hammers, and they literally, the looms went in as lovely Dobcross looms and came out as scrap metal. And that was the end in 1990 of Longford's Mill. We acquired this loom from Cam Mill. It was a pattern loom, which all the new up and coming patterns were produced on there to go in production. And they were all, the scrapmen were coming in to a Cam Mill and putting the hammer into all the cast iron in there, but we managed to rescue this one, and it was donated to us from Cam Mill into the Stroudwater Textile Trust, and we run it now, and we do our own patterns and our own cloth, which I'm very happy about.